Hey, hello, how you doing? It's Mac Taylor. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing another podcast intro as we are about to be talking about Not Cool, Shane Dawson film that I unfortunately had to watch twice and pay actual money for. You're welcome, Shane. So I think you've noticed if you've been with the channel that haven't updated in a while. And basically, I feel like every couple of months I come on here and be like, look, this thing happened. And that's why I haven't uploaded a thing. And I know it's probably becoming kind of annoying. Seems like there's a lot of excuses rolling around. But really, I don't want to go too deep into all this because, one, it's who really gives a shit about what I got going on. This is a movie podcast. But also, I never really want to get too into my personal life in the realm of this. So basically, I currently live in the basement of a house I share with multiple people. And that basement has flooded like 3 fucking times in the past like year. So I've lost a lot of things. Well, I wouldn't even say a lot. Really, I've gotten quite lucky that I haven't lost like really anything of like great value. But like I've lost like shelves and movies and shit. I've had to completely just like take everything out of the room, like live up like in the mid-level of the house on a couch for a while. And I've had to do this like 3 times. And it's really hard to do content when that just keeps happening. And also, I am going to be moving. Emily and I are getting an apartment and going to be moving sometime next month. So, between like preparing for the move and the third flood happening in the basement, I just didn't like. A lot of my stuff's been like packed away. You can tell by the background. There's just a lot less shit back here, and there was just a lot going on with work and everything else. So I didn't have a lot of time, and also because of like things like the flood happening, I was not in the best of mental states. So I wasn't creating like I really want to. And so it was this weird like back and forth of like really wanting and needing to create to feel like myself, but then also not having any drive to create because I was just so like done with life for a while. So we're working back into it. We're getting back in the groove of things, but it has been like a real uphill battle. So I'm glad that we're able to finally put something out. I know it just feels like I don't do things, but it's life can get rough sometimes, and it kind of takes a while to find that like good balance of how to figure how to do things and still like be a sane person. So without further ado, I didn't mean to get too into the deets, but this is a podcast about a Shane Dawson film called Not Cool. I did with my friend Olivia, who she helps me like we write stuff together, and when like she's like someone I work with on like short films like outside of like the YouTube realm. I work on stuff with, and it was a lot of fun. And she's probably going to be on Film Vomit quite a bit as well because Cole's schedule has increased, and so like now we can still keep like going forward, we can try to keep a regular upload schedule, but with 2 different hosts. The Film Vomit podcast is constantly evolving, but we've been going for a couple of years now, which is fucking crazy. So without further ado, let's put all the serious life stuff aside and talk about this stupid, shitty movie, Not Cool. Hello and welcome to the Film Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and with me today, go ahead and give yourself an introduction.
I'm really uncomfortable. I don't know what to say.
It's literally your name. I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah. Well, you have like a cool name, and now I didn't think this far ahead. I'm new.
I'm new in town. So this is Olivia. She does a lot of like she films a lot of things with me. A lot of the shorts coming out on the channel she helped with and is like a big part of all that stuff. She's actually starring in one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And this whole podcast series we're about to go down, this whole rabbit hole,
No.
was her idea.
No, it wasn't.
So it
No.
really it was. You literally said, "Hey, we should do like YouTuber movies."
I did
And
say
it wasn't
YouTube.
even like we were talking about podcast stuff. Like you sent me a text at like 11 o'clock at night, and you were like, "Hey, these are thoughts I have about podcasting." And so the movie we were doing today is Not Cool, directed, written, conceived by Shane Dawson. So Olivia, it's a great way to introduce yourself to the audience. Why don't you tell us about your Shane Dawson experience?
Stop. This is so disappointing. I feel like I'm in AA. I'm Olivia, and I once watched Shane Dawson regularly.
Hi, Olivia.
And I'm not proud of who I was in that time. It was borderline an addiction. Did I read both the books? Yes. Have I seen all of his movies? Yes. Did I watch all of his videos? Yes. Should I say when it started?
Yeah, like what year? What years were that? What were your Shane Dawson years? Was 2014 one of those years?
Yeah, because I was 10 in 2014. And I got like my first iPod Touch when I was like 8. So probably before that, like 2012.
It's like
Too
2012
young.
to like 20,
Probably
like the gravestone of the fandom says what?
yeah, like if you were to look at my tombstone, it would say like 2012 to like 2019. That's when
Oh,
like
so
the big
it went pretty deep.
Yep.
So we talked about this the other night, but for the audience, it's my Shane Dawson experience was like very vague and short for a long time. Like, because everyone knows from my other podcast, I watched Big Brother a lot, and he was like a like special guest celebrity commentator once, and I was like, "Who is this Shane Dawson fellow?"
You see, I'm acquainted with it.
Yeah, and so that was like 2015. So he had already made this film.
Oh yeah, no, I remember when this movie came out, and I remember being so excited, and I was like, "Oh my god, he has a movie!" Ah, and I watched
Well, yeah,
it.
because he was featured on The Chair,
Yes,
which
I
was
watched
like,
it.
but it's funny because The Chair and that both were on Stars. So this movie like premiered on Stars, and The
Yeah.
Chair premiered on Stars. So it was like The Chair like built up for people to watch this movie, but the people who like produced The Chair and like who like were working the concept hated this movie to the point where I was like,
Yeah.
why did they even go through with it? Like at some point where they just like, man, this is garbage. We should just not do this.
Well, I'm assuming they just put so much money into it that they were just like, just keep going. We're already in pretty deep.
One of the guys like took his name off the movie. Like, you know, he's like, I don't even want the producer credit. Like, I don't want anyone to know I was in this. I was a part of this.
No, but he was real for that because he should have, and he did. Good for him. This movie sucks.
It really does. And like, you know that it's gonna suck in the first like 10 seconds. Like it's you don't even get to like kind of ease your way into how bad it's gonna be.
That is so true because I have never watched any other movie where I knew it was going to be bad from the very first frame. And this movie manages to do that, which is honestly a record because I can't even, what the first opening, the opening frame is like,
It's the part, it's the party scene. So I think it's the girl who goes in the bedroom with the dudes. I think it's like her face, but like the way it's shot. So like I'm assuming Shane was like because obviously we can try to gauge by how this film is like written, directed, all that of like what his film influences are. And it seems like he really was into like 2000s like college movies.
Yeah, he watched American Pie once and was like, I want to do that.
But like,
that.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to do American Pie. I want to do American Pie Band Camp. Like
Yeah. Oof.
it's but even then, like I've watched a lot of like spoof comedies or like slapstick comedies and all that jazz. But
Hmm.
this and maybe this is going to become a recurring theme because we're doing a lot of YouTuber movies, is that the comedy stylings of like a 5 to 10 minute YouTube video don't really particularly lend themselves to an hour and a half feature.
Yeah. That's a note I put in here, as I said that the pacing is so weird. Like it's a roller coaster. It's so strange. Like the pacing of it, like it's
Well, he's trying to move from like bit to bit to bit to bit, but also
yeah.
try to cram this like story in there, but it doesn't
Yeah.
fit around the bits.
What I cuz he said it's I feel like
Yeah, you
every
watched The Chair. What was he saying about this? Like, what were you expecting this movie to be like when you were like seeing like the guts of it kind of come together?
well, here's the thing. No, well, I don't want to say it cuz well, no, I'm going to say it. So, we should do something else where we watch the other girls movie.
The Other Girls movie. That's very specific.
The no, so do you know what The Chair is?
No.
Okay. So the whole point of The Chair was Shane and then another lady named, I think her name's Anna, I think Anna, maybe it's something like that.
Okay.
And they both got the same script, and then they were able to like make whatever changes they wanted, and then they were each given a budget to like film their stuff, and they both had to film in Pittsburgh. So hers is called Holidaysburg, and it's like a pretty similar storyline,
Right, because they
like
got the same
vague.
script.
But
What was
Shane
the
like
original script
completely
then?
the original script was literally just like a girl comes home
From
from
college for the holidays?
yeah, that was like the overall script.
Okay.
And Anna didn't really seem to change much of that. Like she added in her own personal like pizzazz. Shane just completely rewrote the entire script pretty
He's like, as
much.
long
Like
as they come home from college for the holidays, whatever we
yeah.
do past that, which I respect, like trying to like really like make it your own, but like it's Shane Dawson, so it's not like gonna be good personal brand comedy.
Yeah, I watched her movie as well. And
What
it was
what is her
actually
movie on?
day out. I don't want people to find it because if too many people find it, they're gonna take it down.
Yeah, I won't put that in. It's
Bleep
fine.
that. No one gets
Do you want me to literally bleep it?
yes.
Okay, okay, I can do
Bleep
that. I'll do it. I'll put the bleep in.
it. Okay. No, her movie's actually really good. It has like it just has like a more
Normal
homey kind
story.
of vibe. The characters are better. Well, this isn't about her. This is
Yeah.
about
Well,
him.
I was going to try and give credit because I like when I started taking my notes and I watched this movie twice. And when I watched the movie the first time, because I watch every movie on this podcast at least twice, and that is sometimes really fun and really not. Uh, so when I watched it the first time, I was like, just like bored and pissed off, and like just like there was a lot of emotions that were ranging very quickly. And I was like, you know what? On the second go, I'm gonna try to just squeeze every like bit of like positivity I can out of this. Like if there's like any small bit that I'm like, that wasn't horrible. But one of it was like, hey, at the core, the story wouldn't be that bad if you took all the Shane Dawson-ness out of it. But
Right.
then, since they gave him a script, so I can't even say that was a credit to him.
So yeah, he didn't come up with like the concept or the idea. They both got the exact same script, and then they were free to make like whatever.
And she made
edits.
like a normal movie, and he made this, which it felt like a long Shane Dawson video. Which we'll watch his other movies because like I said, the only one I've ever seen is Smiley. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so she goes by the name A.M. Lucas now, and I don't know why, but that's like the name she goes by now.
It's like
If you look,
Radio George Lucas.
yeah, on here. So his movie has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, and
That's
hers,
generous.
yeah, and hers has 75.
Oh wow,
But
75 is
he
pretty
won
good.
the competition. So
Yeah,
did you know it was a
and
competition?
yeah, and so like, why did they go? I'm assuming it was like a public vote, and he's Shane Dawson.
So when you think about it, I remember watching it, and like when you
Not
see
really
it
fair
at
to
the
her.
very end, they like do like a press tour kind of to like try to, they like went to small theaters to like try to get more business, I
Votes.
guess. And Shane's were like giant meet and greets, and then like hers were like really small, like
Because no one
not
knows who she is.
full.
Like,
Yeah, so
if they were
like,
gonna put Shane on the show, shouldn't they have gotten like another, like a
well,
Paul brother or like Smosh or like, you know, someone on like a similar kind of popularity level at the time?
yeah, but their pitch for the show, like in the first episode, they say that they want to take a YouTuber who is like breaking out of traditional media and a traditional filmmaker. So like she went to school and has like a degree in
And try to
film.
see with the public, but again, he has a public following, and she's like a film school
Yeah.
grad.
So it was like, okay, can a YouTuber make a better movie than someone who makes film, like in like went to school for it? And the answer is yes, but the problem is that Shane
It's
has
Shane
a big
Dawson.
following, and he won them like the cash prize that you. Which what did he even do with that? That's what I want to know. What did he do with the money?
I don't know, but
He wasn't buying any new clothes. I know that.
You're right. He wears like the same outfits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of which I think were his wardrobe in this movie.
Yeah, he was for
like,
sure.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that sweater vest a few other times.
For sure. Yeah. Ugh, the hair.
See, and we haven't even like delved into the film yet. It's just like, it's kind of. Maybe that's why. Does the chair still exist, or is it just like a one-time deal?
Well, as far as I know, there was just that one season.
So
like,
it clearly
Shane
was
just broke the whole thing.
Yeah, because it's like not only did like the mass like movie taking people, the non Shane Dawson fans hated it. Now the Shane Dawson fans kind of hate it, and also the people making the show hated his movie. So like whoever pitched the show was probably like kicking the hell out of themselves. It's like, God damn it, this wasn't what we had in mind.
Well, okay, what I think is interesting is one of the producers for The Chair was a producer on American Pie, and he was working close with Shane. So I wonder if he was like trying to kind of like guide Shane, like, okay, if he's not going to make like a feel good,
if he's going to make American Pie, let me help him make
a
actual American Pie instead of like whatever this is.
Yeah.
And like, for it being 2014, there's some like pretty racy humor in here.
Imagine 10-year-old me sitting down.
I was actually thinking that at one point in the movie. I was like, because I didn't know your exact age, but I was like, I knew Olivia was like pretty young when this came out. So I was like, what the fuck was going through her mind when there's like literally like Shane's first scene in the movie, he gets blown in a bathroom. So it's like
well, by that point, like, first of all, girl, I didn't have like unlimited access to the internet, but I kind of did at the same time. Like, so I was already watching Shane Dawson videos, and that was just like normal in his videos. So like to me, I was just like, oh, this is just like normal. Like this is just like Shane Dawson.
It's like 90 minutes of Shane.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, no, this makes sense. This makes sense. It doesn't make sense, and it's actually really bad.
And I think this to date is like his only like studio feature. Like all of his other like films, well, Smiley was through a studio, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but that wasn't his film. I think he just acted in it.
Yeah, Smiley was Michael Gallagher.
Who the hell is Michael Gallagher?
You don't know the lore.
I don't, but you were
Literally,
quick with that shit.
every Shane Dawson fan knows Michael Gallagher because he helped make all of his like short films and music videos back in the day.
So he was
So
like
like
the
I
actual
knew who
like
he
talent.
was before Smiley even came out. I was like, "Oh, I know who he is." And
I'm also
he
surprised they
was
let Drew Momsen have such a big part in this.
I love him.
I do, but I'm surprised, like from a studio perspective, they didn't want like a name or like some like because to my knowledge, I don't think Drew's ever acted in anything before or after this.
Mm-mm. No, I think this is where they met actually.
They met here.
On this set, I think, because he made videos before and like Shane knew of him,
No,
and then
I thought he hung out with Shane, like Shane and Trisha Paytas, right?
yeah, but that was around the same time as the movie, so that could have been after.
Oh, so he
And
was
Cherry
Drew like
Lee,
trying to be an actor and then just happened to meet Shane and
I
went down a little
think
bit of a rabbit
so,
hole?
because Drew wasn't like necessarily a big YouTuber before.
No, and he was like young here
Yeah,
because Shane was 26 when this was shot, but I think Drew was like 17, wasn't he, or like 18?
something like that. How unfortunate for that to be your first movie.
All right, so you want to like dive into the movie now?
I guess. I mean, is that
It's
enough backstory? How much
mm,
lore do we need to get into here? Because
I mean, it's mostly like your experience with it. Because, like I said, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I mean, I knew of it. Like, but anytime anyone mentioned it, they were like, "This movie's horrible,"
and was it?
and it was.
Yeah. So
And I watch a lot of bad movies, particularly on this podcast. I've watched the entire Evil Bong franchise on this podcast, but I would watch all of those movies again before I watched this movie one more time.
uh,
So okay, so when this movie opens, I imagined like Shane putting it in there that like it's like, oh yeah, big epic party opening. You know, we got quick jokes. We got the drunk teenagers. People are getting high. There's this big and it's like shot in like this weird, they can only be described as like 2000 slow-mo shot. Like this doesn't exist in like a modern good movie.
yeah.
This like slow-mo where it like goes and it like you get like a slow-mo shot of something, then it zips over here and it does a like and with like this very generic like boom 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 in the background.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that he was trying to write a party scene, but he's never been to a party.
Yeah, and also like Shane cast himself as like this character who's like the jock coolest guy in school.
Yeah. It was literally just like him stroking his ego the entire
Mm.
movie. Also, there's nothing in the movie that tells me that he's like popular. Like,
Or an athlete or like literally anything.
yeah.
Like he just seems like Shane Dawson.
Yeah, so he's literally playing himself and he's like, I'm super cool, right? And we're all
Well,
like,
because I was thinking because Shane also plays like some other like of like his characters.
yeah, he's in the movie like 3 different times as
Yeah.
different people.
And so like if I were trying to guide Shane through making a movie, which God help us all. So if I had like that horrible task, I would be like, Shane, you can do your side characters. I get that, especially because he does that a lot in his videos and things. Your fans will like that. However, for the leading man, we should probably cast like anyone else because it just seems kind of off-putting.
Yeah, because you're watching he spends so much of his time playing like the well, I guess at that time he was kind of trying to make himself into like the outcast who's like edgy and like nobody understands him.
Okay.
Which I
He
guess he
was
still
the
kind of does
coolest
that.
kid in school, but he likes photography.
Yeah, like he's like, but he has a secret mysterious side. He likes taking pictures of people. Okay?
Which sounds like the start of a horror film.
Literally no one asked. Like but okay. starting from the beginning, my list of problems. I hate in shows when they very obviously can't get the rights to like a social media platform, so they have to use like a generic version. I
Mhm.
hate that so much when it's graphics and it comes up on the screen and it's like a blue bird that's not Twitter but it's supposed to be Twitter, and it's like short little quips and it's like, okay, literally
Yeah, they'll be like Quipster or something, and you're like, fuck off. Like,
you better exactly. All I wrote down was Twitter is twittering. I
yeah,
hate
because it's opening with all these like tweets, and they're meant to be jokes, but they're not really jokes. Like the girl's like enjoying Thanksgiving, and she goes to like have sex with a bunch of guys,
yeah,
but that's not really that. It's not like a joke. It's just like, yeah, okay.
like and
And then there's a guy who's like, "Oh, miss my girlfriend," and he's like making out with the guy. So it's like, haha, he's actually a gay guy.
that's
And
not gonna
again, it's
give the
like,
girlfriend trust issues at all.
and then it's Shane does a lot of this because it's like his own like insecurity where he like has like a slightly like chubby character being like the like fat loser, quote unquote. So he's got this girl like dancing by, and she's like, it's not like it's like someone in a bodysuit or something. She's just like, she's got some meat. That's it. Like she's a normal person.
Yeah,
And then she's like talking about wanting to get laid or whatever, and everyone's meant to be like, ew, her gross. And it's like, shut up, Shay. We all know you were overweight as a kid, and you're like reflecting that in this movie.
yeah. That's the thing. As someone who was worked for Jenny Craig and like was overweight, how are you gonna make that the butt of every joke? Like, do you? And
It's
he's like,
all
well,
the
I can
time.
say that.
Because isn't he made it was a film or a short film called like Lottery Ticket, where it's like based
Yes.
off of himself in a way,
Hmm.
and he's like in a fat suit and shit, and like a lot of his shit revolves around like being overweight and
Yes,
that being funny.
kind of. So it was. He was. That wasn't that one, but he was in a fat suit twice for two different short films based on
Himself.
excerpts from his book called I
God.
Hate My Selfie. So there's I Hate My Selfie 1 and I Hate My Selfie 2.
Okay, and I
And then
saw that the
Lottery.
girl from this is in I Hate My Selfie,
Yes. Yes, she
which
is.
also the main girl who plays Tori in
Mhm.
this movie, she is a decorated anime voice actor.
Yeah,
Like
she, like, has been in a lot.
decorated. And I'm like, how the fuck did they secure her? This is one of her like rare live action performances. Like she usually only does voice acting. So one, how did she even get near this project? And how did she agree to it?
I don't know.
Because she's like actually a really talented performer.
I
She's been in
don't
like Boruto and fucking Sailor Moon and shit.
dude, I don't know. I genuinely I wish I could ask her. How did you end up here? In a Shane Dawson movie?
And like and
Like,
multiple times, like with I Hate Myself and stuff. Like she like worked with him again.
yeah. Like, I don't know, but I will say you did have a point with the lottery is imagine being the kid that was cast to play Kid Shane, and
And
the only
everyone's
way
just shitting on
Shane
your weight.
yeah, the only way Shane ever refers to his kid self is like, "I was so fat and ugly and gross and disgusting."
This kid's trying to act and like live
And
a
this kid's
dream.
just, like, sitting there like,
This
"But
is
I'm
my
doing
origin
great, right?"
story. Oh, poor baby. But yeah,
Ok
like a lot of Shane's comedy is that it's like shitting on people's weight, uh just shouting profanities. Like the one character he plays, which is kind of like Shanae, is him just
No.
being like ah bitch, like that's, and it's like, isn't that funny when I laugh and I curse? And it's like, no.
Yeah. Where he well, I feel like I'm going out of order because there's so many parts where, like, I made a note where I'm like, "This is
Well,
happening again."
we're going to go through the movie more. It's just like I keep thinking of things that upset me.
I am upset the whole time I'm watching the movie.
Because
There's
also they call So Tori's character is referred to multiple times as Tori the Hoary, which was meant to be like a joke because she was like a virgin for a long time. But also, it's that like effect that a lot of movies do, even good movies do, where they take a very beautiful actress, like put a little bit of zit on her or like put glasses on her, and they're like, "Ooh, isn't she repulsive and gross and nerdy?" And then
And
and
it's
then,
like
then they just take the glasses off, and they're like, "Oh my god."
me sitting here like with glasses normally, just being like, I'm the before. Like,
You're like, okay, I see where I fit in these movies.
I learned my place real fast when I watched Shane Dawson movies.
Yeah. And that's like most of his fans. And he's like, you're all the before.
I know, he was like actively making me feel bad about myself. I love that.
But yeah, and it shows like old photos of her when she's supposed to be like the ugly duckling. And again, she's got like a little bit of zit makeup here. And that's it. And and then literally when you see her in the next scene, it's just that's gone. And when Shane sees her, it's supposed to be he doesn't even recognize her, but she literally looks the same because they had to take the photos like of that same actress, so she's not going to change it. You should have
Yeah,
got someone else, and then maybe him not. Yeah, I mean, we'll get there. I just anger.
yeah, that whole nickname doesn't make any sense because she seems no. I'll wait.
Okay. Uh, so basically, and I hate most of the time when movies do this. Not that every movie that does this is bad or it doesn't work, but when like a scene happens and then they go like, "That's me. I'm this character, and this is my life."
It's literally the one scene where he's like, "Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up here." And it's like, "No, no one's wondering that. We actually don't care. Just keep
And also,
going."
like we just started this movie,
Yeah, we
and
actually don't know who you are. We're not wondering
it,
anything
it
about
it's a
you.
lazy way to introduce us to a character by having them explain things because you're not trusting the audience's ability to like think.
Yeah, has a problem with telling and not showing.
And also,
I
like, we
don't think he knows
start
what a
at
movie.
this party, and then later we, like, show how we got there, and I'm like, "Why, though? It was only, like, 5
Yeah,
minutes. Why?" It's not like a
literally
Quentin
go back
Tarantino
to
big reveal.
yeah, like we don't need to start at the vomit scene. We can go to the beginning.
But
What
he's
was
like, "We
that movie?
have to open on the party. Like, it has to be the opening scene."
Like, no, I actually think it would be a lot more meaningful and cool if we started in the airport scene, if the airport scene was good.
We
But
started in another movie.
if we started in Anna's movie, we would have been great. Perfect.
Like, it starts for Shane's, and it just, like, hard cuts, and then it's her movie.
I'm floored. I'm floored by the airport scene because number one, it doesn't look like an airport, and I
It's
understand he
not.
had a
It's
low
actually an
budget.
elementary school.
He was allowed in elementary school.
Yeah, so they shot in an elementary school and then dressed it up like an airport because shooting in an airport is actually like really hard to do, which I understand. Like post 9/11, doing anything in an airport that's not getting on a plane is like
Getting on a
really
plane is
sketchy.
difficult.
It's also yeah, getting on a plane is also really hard. But like if you're if you're like we're gonna shoot a movie here, they're gonna be like, all right, fuckers, you got like 5 minutes. I'm like,
But they didn't even really try. I don't know. I can't really remember the chair. I don't remember a whole lot of like
we
production
need to
being.
watch The Chair and then like do a little
You and Emily
snippet.
should do that because that's like reality TV kind of.
Sure. Well,
We'll
you need a
promote that.
guest on that though.
Okay.
You and Emily can have your Shane Dawson fan trauma together.
Stop. I'm not trying to trauma bond.
So yeah, so and then like at this party, she gets vomited on, and then like we go to like title sequence, which is just a wipe. It's like a literal like Adobe After Effect wipe. Not cool.
No, it's literally like a PowerPoint transition.
Yeah.
I I just from the beginning, I don't understand Tori's attitude. I don't get why she's
She's
so mad at
overly
the
mean to
dude, right?
everyone.
She's overly mysterious. Like we get it, you like the color dark red. I don't know how else to like you're so mad at the world and for what? Like cuz you're never shown she like keeps saying over and over again, like, Scott, you think you're so cool, and you called me the, and it's like, okay, well, we never see any of that happen. Like, she actually seems pretty well liked. Like, no one really does anything bad
And
to
is
her.
Joel supposed to be her friend?
I
Because they
don't
have
know.
scenes together, but she's like the literal worst to her, and he doesn't seem to care about her at all.
I don't know. I have no
Like
idea who any of these people
again,
are.
I've watched this movie twice, and I still have the same question of like, are they supposed to be friends, or did they just bump into each other and start having a conversation? I don't get it.
They seem like acquaintances, but they also know way too much about each other to be acquaintances. Cause like
Because they're
Tori
both
knows
like,
about
oh,
Joel's
you're
brother.
always, yeah.
So how does she know that unless he's like actually friends with her? But are they friends? Because she's like low key horrible to him the whole time.
And he's very like apathetic toward like all of her situations. And
Yeah.
so it's like the only reason that they didn't have a conversation is to like have a couple of jokes as they push each other back toward their respective story. Because there is like two completely different storylines that sometimes dip into each other, but they have no real significance.
Yeah. So I think that's another problem here is that there's too much going on all at once. So like
And nothing's
we're
really
so,
happening.
there is so much going on yet nothing happening. Like the vinyl store is closing. Joel has the
And I
crush
thought that was going to be a plot point of them like coming to terms with like their dad leaving and shit. And
yeah,
it never gets mentioned again. No one gives a shit.
exactly. And like yeah, that's like a whole thing because they're like Scott is sad because he's like, what, are we poor now? Yawning, boring. We get it, you were poor once, you're not anymore though, so get over it. Does that mean
But also like Shane's has like multiple scenes in this movie where he's like eating on a couch on his phone.
he does that a lot in the movie. That's like actually a really good point because I remember that he has the first scene where he's eating the pizza and the dad comes in, who's very off-putting. I'm not sure why, but the dad is just off-putting. His character is so strange. Like I feel like you want to root for him because you don't want to root for Shane's character.
He's
But
one
then
of the
he's
only
also weird.
characters that isn't like a completely shitty person, but at the same time we don't know enough about him because there's no real like Shane's character Scott, which that's I'm just gonna refer to him as Shane because it's just Shane trying to make himself a leading man.
Right.
And then his sister Janie, who's part of the other storyline with Joel, Drew Mom's character, they're brother and sister, and again,
Right.
they barely have any interaction with each other.
I didn't know they were siblings. You can't tell they're siblings from the trailer. But I feel like that's something you need to know. Because, like, you could have brought in Joel to, like, into Shane's group somehow because there's a connection
They could
there.
be friends because they're the
Yeah.
same age.
Also, why is everybody so obsessed with high school? Why is Joel. Okay, so here's what confused me about the ages, and maybe I just didn't catch this.
They're
Joel
all
is
18 and Janie's 17. So they're on their freshman in college and she's a senior in high school.
okay. See, that is not. It doesn't make any sense because Joel is in the high school. He's inside of it.
Well, that was the joke because she comes up, she's like, "What are you doing here?"
Right, no, but like seriously, what is he doing there? Like,
It's like, how did you get
real.
in? And like, why is no one like kicking you out?
Yeah, but it's not like that could have been a funny thing. Like, oh, he's stuck in high school. Like literally, like he's not leaving. Like we can't get him to leave. Like somebody help. And it's not. You're just kind of confused. Like, why is he there?
But also,
How did
Drew
he get
looks
there?
so young that you could have just made him also like he could be Janie's
Yeah,
age, and that would be fine.
which would explain a little bit why he's like a little bit disconnected from Shane and Tori because it's like,
Yeah,
oh, well, they were
because
in
he's
the same
younger.
grade.
But yeah, he's meant to be their peer, yet like no one really has like a good interaction with him.
Yeah.
Which might be like just Drew Momsen's whole ass friendship with Shane. Because like, you know, in the recent like year he's come out and talked about that a little bit.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't know.
So we go to the airport scene, which you mentioned.
Yes.
And
The unfortunate airport scene.
yes, with this recurring character that never should have been a character. So Tori's being like, because her family is like, she's meant to be like edgy, like blah blah
She's
blah,
like the
and then
black sheep.
yeah, and her family's literally like the most like upbeat. Like her sister's like a blind person, but like an overachiever. Like everyone, all like multiple times in the movie, people go, she's an inspiration. And then that makes Tori even more like, whatever, blah blah blah. I hate you all. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm. She's so
And
mysterious. Isn't she so cool? Isn't she so edgy? Don't you want to be her?
but
I
the
wanna be-
movie is not cool. So yeah. So she's being all broody, and her family has like, they're all like excited for her to be home, and she's like, ugh, whatever, I don't even want to be here. And so and there's a homeless guy, and she's like, do you want to trade places? And he's like, nah, I'm good where I am, and I eat my own shit. And he's like literally eating like a Dixie cup of his own excrement.
Which is not only a problem because it's just offensive and like unnecessary, but this was also a problem in the chair. So when they were trying to find, so the whole point was that the talent was supposed to come from Pittsburgh. Like they
Oh, they had
was
to
supposed to be,
cast in Pittsburgh.
yeah, it was supposed to be very like local. Like they were supposed to be kind of like
So this was like an
using the
indie project, right? So
resources.
it's supposed to be like, here's your location, make it work for everything kind of deal. I like that concept, but again, Shane Dawson
Yes.
had to ruin it for everybody.
But the problem is that he was like refusing to rewrite any jokes and they couldn't get people to audition because they were
No one
reading
wants
the
to be the person
script.
eating shit.
What? I did not hear you said. You cut
I
out.
said, no one wants to be the guy that eats shit.
No, literally, like people were signing on to
But they got that guy. So
movie.
like,
I don't know who he was.
what was that audition like?
I don't
Because
know.
like he's clearly just eating like it's like a wet brownie. What it looks like to
Yeah.
me, because it's very like as easy as making fake shit is, they did not do a good job.
No, they actually managed to mess that up.
Because it like I said, it looks like cake. Because at one point he like scoops it and like puts it in his mouth, and it looks like cake. Really, you could have taken like peanut butter and like put some like peanuts or something, like kind of crush some stuff up. And because the Angry Video Game Nerd does that a lot in his YouTube videos, and it looks more like shit.
How about we just don't do it at all?
But yeah, we don't have to have homeless people eating shit.
How about we just cut it?
That's a problem I won't run into on our sets. But
You better not make me do anything nasty like that, boy. I swear.
but yeah, so but again, it's not. I know the joke is like, this guy's eating his own shit and he won't want it. But also, like, isn't the point of the story is that she's like too hard on her family and she's supposed to be like kind of understanding at the end?
Mm-hmm.
So the interaction is then pointless. And again, it's not that funny unless you find like eating shit really funny.
Which no one does.
No one does.
So.
And then we meet Shane Dawson's character, who is like,
boy, do we. We do meet him.
We do.
We sure do.
So he immediately gets like attacked by like his girlfriend, and like they go into the bathroom, and there's
do we even
like
have to talk about that?
it's a really long scene.
It's so unbelievable. It's ungodly long.
But also, not only did Shane cast himself as like the leading man, but he put himself in multiple sex scenes in this movie.
Exactly.
Which wasn't his girlfriend at the time one of the actresses?
Yeah, she plays Tori's blind sister.
Which is funny because they have like one scene together.
And you know what? He had to cast all of his friends and like people he knew because nobody wanted to sign on to this movie. Because it sucks and nobody likes it.
But yeah, so he gets like blown in the bathroom, and there was kind of a funny joke when she like
which it's not, the context of the scene isn't funny because she's like trying to get to a glory hole, but she like flips over the stall and he's like, "Are you Spider-Man?" That got a little bit of like a out of me because like that was kind of a funny joke.
You blew air out of your nose.
Yeah, well, there are sometimes because if Shane, because Shane's jokes are always at like a 12.
Yeah,
And it's when he like dials it back to like a 4 that I'm like,
exactly.
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, like that would be. I would have chuckled lightly at that.
Like the homeless guy. If she would have said, "Want to switch?" and he's like, "Nah, I'm good," that would have been kind of funny.
Yeah, that would
But
have been
then having him eat his
entertaining.
own shit is like the 12. We need to dial it back down.
And you know what? I do want to say, his producer that he like worked with, Lauren, she was getting like verbally abused on that set because he like she kept trying to like get him to edit the script and like edit things and like actually put thought into what he was doing, and she was always made out to be the bad guy. Like he would always just like berate her, like, and make her look stupid when she was like the only one there that was like trying to make him better because everybody else had already given up on him.
And you would think if you're Shane, because you know you're probably going to win this competition because of the amount of followers you have on social media and all that jazz.
Right.
So if you're Shane, and Shane's said for many years he's always wanted to be a filmmaker. That's what he wanted to do. It's not like YouTube when he was coming up was a career that people had. So my question is, because he was such like a diva on set and caused a lot of issues, wouldn't you be trying to like, any kind of advice you're given, take it, really make connections? Because if you want to continue to make movies and work in the industry, don't immediately burn all your bridges.
Exactly. Because I mean, I'm not saying like Zachary Quinto is like the god level somebody you want on your team, but like he's not a bad connection to have. Like, why ruin that? That's weird.
And again, it's like, just don't like, on your YouTube channel, you can make the kind of shit you want to make. That's fine. You're in complete creative control. But a movie, especially one that's, someone else is paying for, there's a lot of decisions to make as a unit. And a lot of the times you need to make the decision for the whole production, the whole team, not just like what you want to do. If you want to have a homeless guy eating shit on your channel, that's fine. But like within this ecosystem of a set, it's not needed. We talked about how unnecessary it is. If he'd have cut that, made some people more happy, had a little more, easy time casting. I don't know.
It probably
So,
would have been.
but yeah, the Spider-Man joke got me a little bit. But then it's like there's like 8 other like over the top jokes. Like, and also the Invisalign bit was kind of funny.
Yeah, like also product placement. Okay. Product placement is obvious, but also the dancing scene, was that what, like the knockoff Just Dance, please.
What did they call it?
Dance marathon, dance I want to die.
But it literally, they're holding like a copy of Just Dance, but they're like covering like the whole logo.
And it's literally the exact same game. It was something stupid. Like it was like Dance Revolution or something.
Yeah, it's just like a generic like DDR.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dancing in this movie. A lot of Shane dancing in this movie.
I know. Which is weird because he's not good at it.
I mean, you could argue he's not good at like anything in this movie, so
That's true.
And also during the bathroom scene, the homeless guy comes back because they're like at a urinal, and they're like, "Man, these guys are disgusting." And then the guy's like, "Yeah," and then drinks a Dixie cup of his own piss, and it's like,
sigh.
It's like them sitting like side by side at a urinal, saying that is like it's an okay joke, And if you wanted to like take it up a couple more notches, you could have like one guy like look down at the other guy. Sure. but Shane's obsession with bodily fluids.
It really is almost an addiction, maybe. I think we need to bring someone else in because
An
there's
expert.
no we need an expert. We need Dr. Phil or someone. We need a psychiatrist to
We
come.
need to get to the bottom of this.
We need to get to the there's a conspiracy afoot. Because
That's the real conspiracy.
the real problem is that he has so many fluids in his movies at all times, any kinds, from anywhere, from
Yeah.
anybody. And I don't like it. I personally don't like it.
And like it's very trauma, but not, and I know that means nothing to you, but
Absolutely
we'll talk
nothing,
later.
But please go on.
I don't know. It's so then also after this scene, we meet Joel, who's just, and again, I love Drew Momsen. I do. And
His
I think
new album is so good.
I have not heard it.
It's so good.
But I think he actually does he seems to be like a good actor. It's just that the material that he's given, but some of his like ad libs, because I think some of this stuff was like there were multiple takes, because we see in the credits kind of like a couple examples of those.
Yeah.
He's funny. He has an energy to him, but he's dealing with Shane's script, so he can only do so much with it.
They
And like
grossly misused him.
Yes. Because also this kind of character that he's playing, he could probably really, if you really wanted to take like all of the, because it really is like stalker vibes with how hard it goes with this. But if you took it from the 12 and you dialed it to a 4, and he was just like a guy in love with like the high school crush, and he's like the lovable loser, we want him to win. Drew could really do that. Really play hard into that.
Well, that's what sucks, is because like he starts off that way, and you really want to root for him,
and it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, and then he just kind of like devolves, and you're like, well, I wanted to root for at least one person.
And I think a lot of it is Shane just going, all right, and then say this, and then throw this in.
And it's like, I don't.
There's no self-control.
So well, and there's no subtlety in any of the jokes. It's like the constant like, that was funny, right, guys? And then like it's like, okay, we get, you don't have to say the joke that's happening in front of us. We can see, like, it's almost disrespectful to the viewers. Like, you're really underestimating our intelligence here. It's literally a Shane Dawson movie. Like, I promise you, we're gonna get it.
It's people eating their own shit jokes. I think we can figure out the depth here.
I know. I'm no neurosurgeon, but I know a Dixie cup full of fecal matter when I see it.
That's a qualification.
I'm qualified. I know it. I've seen it. I know what the joke is. We can move on from that now. We don't have to keep.
There's a lot of people like shoving things in other people's mouths too in this, like food.
There's also things happening too, but
there's a lot of like cake in mouth.
There's a lot of things in mouths in this movie.
Yeah. It's just an orally fixated film.
Yeah. I swear he wanted to be a dentist in a past life, because why is he so obsessed with the inside of everyone's mouths? You're weird. You have a tooth fetish. Literally go lay down. Also, side note, this is just something that's throughout the whole movie. Why is everyone orange? Is that just my screen? Why was everyone orange in the movie?
I didn't. I mean, is it like a lot of makeup? I wasn't paying that hard of attention.
So bad.
To me, it just it felt like a movie that was shot in like 2004, which was like 10 years earlier.
I know.
Like it doesn't feel like a 2014 film. It feels like something that should have been like so long ago.
Yeah. Here, like, maybe it was just me. I don't know. He's so orange. I don't know.
Who is Shane?
Simpson. That is a Simpson.
I think it's the lighting in that scene, though.
Just
like you can tell the light is off to the side and it's like glaring onto his face.
I need someone to explain white balance to him. I'm begging. But like we should not be able to see the glare of the studio light.
Yeah, that's bad. Like it's real bad. Like someone should have turned that shit like down a couple of notches. Thrown a blanket over it, something.
Put a blanket over him. I don't want to look
like,
at him.
we're done. So yeah, we get this like awkward interaction between Joe, but again, he just showed up in this school, and that's kind of like out of context, very creepy.
Out of context, creepy. In context, creepy.
But he's like just trying to get these plans with her, but he like slips that like her dad's closing down the record store. But again, that absolutely means nothing later, so it's not really like we'll talk about it now, but it literally means nothing later.
Yeah, it doesn't build up to anything. Like, we might as well not even mention it.
It's not important.
Yeah.
And then there was one joke that landed, not the whole joke, but just part of the joke, when he's talking about like one that anyone references like a Tumblr account that dates this movie a little bit. But he's like, have you seen? He goes, I call them my ass ventures, and like his delivery of that line was funny. But then she goes, that's kind of gay, and he's like, no, it's not. And it's like, again,
You
we went
almost had it.
You were right there. Like, let Drew deliver the line, and then just she could be like, oh, that's nice, you know. And then he's like, yeah, it is. Like,
you could tell that was Drew's line that then Shane added in, and it just.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, and then say it's gay.
Because that's funny, right?
Because it's funny when we just keep like calling people gay. That's funny. Like, this is like 1994.
I know.
Yeah, it's very strange. So they have the scene with the dad where he's like talking about he's selling the house in the store and blah blah, and Shane's eating on the couch. So a lot, like there's at least 3 scenes in this movie where he's eating on the couch. That's too many.
One too many.
Well, like him doing it in this scene to me made sense, you know, because he's like just got broken up with the glory hole, and he's just like looking through text, eating his feelings away. But
are we given any reason to think that he cares about Heather, the girlfriend?
Also, no. So maybe it would make more sense later in the movie to do it.
Yeah, like, okay, we've seen them.
But only once. He should only do it one time.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. But the fact that he's 3 fucking times.
You can only do it once.
And one time he's eating a turkey. Like, he's like really like fisting a turkey and like eating the.
Whoa. Pause. He's what in a what? That's crazy.
You've seen this movie. You know what I'm talking about. It's toward the end. He's like, he has a turkey on his chest and he's like eating it. Because I get it. It's Thanksgiving, but like it's.
Also,
you went too big.
Themselves on Thanksgiving. Not in my family. Those things are expensive. I'm being so.
I don't know. I think he's in like an upper class family. This seems like the suburbs kind of deal. I mean, I know their dad owns a record store, but like vinyl was coming back around this time. People were paying money.
Yeah, Lana Del Rey, she brought it back. 2014, Born to Die. Yeah, baby. Put that on vinyl. Hang that up on your wall. Take a Pinterest picture of it.
Now we've dated this podcast in like 10 years when Pinterest isn't a thing anymore.
What? I love Pinterest.
It's not gonna last forever.
I'm on Pinterest 24/7. There's so look at me.
Your life's gonna be meaningless when Pinterest is gone. You're just like, I have nothing left.
No, do you know how many memes I get from Pinterest? So many. No, because here's a good disclaimer. You think going to Twitter will get you good memes? It won't. Go to Pinterest. Pinterest has all of the good memes.
So then there's another scene which could be played out fine, but again, Shane doesn't go to 4; he goes to 12. So her parents turned her room into like an exercise room, which is kind of common that parents change rooms. And then her like college bestie is on, I assume, Skype.
Yeah, he's never
mentioned after this. He could have been a character, like they had like Drew's interactions with her.
Yeah.
To be like push her story forward. He could have been around.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh yeah, like I heard through the grapevine someone else's room got turned into a sex dungeon. Funny, subtle, but it's because her parents are working out in the background, talk about like popping asses. And if that little snippet was all we saw, or we heard just that in the background, that's fine. But again, Shane's got to keep going, and it's got to involve bodily fluids. So the mom's stretching and goes to fart and shits her pants. And at this point, I'm like, this is what I came home from a long day of work, and this is what I'm doing to myself. This is what I'm subjecting myself
I
to.
somehow feel responsible for this.
Oh, wow. I wonder why you would feel that way. But legit, like, it's like the thing where you go so long it stops being funny, but then usually you go longer until it's funny again. But Shane doesn't know how to go until it's funny again. He doesn't know how to go until it's not funny anymore. Like, this movie could have been called Not Funny, and that would have been a better indicator of what you're in for.
Yeah.
Because again, like, if they're working out in the background and they're kind of like saying things like, you gotta pop it out, pop and lock, that would have been kind of funny and like cute, because it's like, oh, our parents are working out, doing their thing, but you had to push it.
He beats the joke till it's dead, and then he keeps beating it, and I just want to beat him because.
And he's like making you watch. He's like, look as I beat this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, don't you like it? Isn't it funny?
Like, don't you look away? Look, like it's this movie.
Borderline demonic.
It's very sadomasochistic. So that it's a scene, it happens, and then because of this happening in the background, she's like, okay, I'm going to this party, I guess. Which again, it's like, just go get drunk. It doesn't have to, like, she acts like she has to, and at the party, she only interacts with like Joel. So it's like, why are you even that worried about it? It's not, it'd be different if like people were coming up to her and like, oh, it's Tori the Hoary. You know, if like everyone's trying to like bring back trauma, but like literally everyone ignores the shit out of her.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, this whole time she's been she's framing her high school experience to seem like everyone sucks, everyone's stuck in high school, Thanksgiving break is so lame, but she's the only one stuck in high school. Everybody else has forgotten it, and she's the only one still stuck on it.
Everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah, like, that could have been a plot point. Like, she's like, you think Scott is the one that's self-involved. It's actually her. Like, she's supposed to be the one that you root for, but then in the, you
and maybe that was the intention, but Shane's just not good at.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like he was trying to make her like the protagonist. Like, she's actually,
but she's so unlikable. It's hard to be the protagonist because she's such a shitty person.
Yeah, like, because you don't even like. There is no person to root for in this movie.
Joel kind of, but only because Drew's such a shining light.
Yeah, he just has like a very charismatic.
And the main actress, she, like I said, she's really good. She has a whole fucking career of things she does really well, but she's used so like poorly. Shocker, but true.
I know, I'm so shocked.
Cue Macaulay Culkin face. Okay, so that happens. Yeah, and so there's like multiple house parties being thrown at this. It's like the same house, but the same kid. And the whole joke is like eventually his parents will come home, but it's not like it goes too long without a payoff. Like, the parents should have shown up at this party, but instead we see them like way later. And it's like, we kind of forget about it. But also it's like very much like a stereotype because it's Shane's writing. But like the actor is trying to do like a stereotypical like Indian accent, and at one point trails off into a Jamaican accent. Like, if you listen very closely when he's talking about like the fact that his parents are letting him throw this party, like it starts off in the stereotype, and he just like at the end of the sentence it just dips a little bit into Jamaican, and then he pulls it back. It's like, but it's in the movie. Like, no one cut that. No one did a second take.
Well, no, that actually brings me to something really big that I want to bring up. So, okay, I didn't go as deep into my notes as I did for Friends Forever, because that
can't wait for that pod.
That would get long. I just want to bring up Shane and Drag.
A lot.
He does it a lot. Drag. And the thing is, it is so rooted in like some weird dislike he has for women in general, because why is every female character he play
A
like
horrible
the
person.
stereotypical mean girl? Like, is that how you think girls act? Because it's not.
Or is
As
that
a
just what
girl
he
in high
wants
school,
to
that's not how it
be?
is.
Because he clearly enjoys doing it. So is part of him
Yeah,
just like this is what he wants to like be like this is my character. This is my Magnus, my Ernest.
yeah. Well, that's because he got famous off of playing
This is my
Shanae.
magnum opus, which did not age well.
No, it
Which
didn't.
it really wasn't even good at the time. Uh because that's another thing too, is that his writing plays in a lot of stereotypes and is kind of racist.
Oh, no, it's 100% racist and very offensive in 2014, and I'm not even gonna say, like, "Well, back then you could kinda get away with it."
Yeah,
It's like,
this is
no,
like the
not to that
80s. You
degree.
could be like, oh, at the time it was a little like less, but no, this is literally like it's not even been 10 years.
Exactly. So, like, what's the excuse? He sucks. That's the end of it. There's no, like,
Like during
"Well,
the
back
Just
then
Dance scene, the mom goes like, "Oh, this is what it would I've always wondered what it'd be like if black people did this." And I was like, "What?
Yeah,
Like,
where
where did that
in
come from?" And
the
also,
dancing
Shane
scene,
Dawson is not a good dancer. If you're
yeah,
trying to go for
no.
that joke, you missed
Like,
it.
this is how I imagine black people have fun. No, I promise you they're having way more fun than that.
It's like no one, no normal people do like Just Dance as a family. First of all,
Not once have I ever done Just Dance with my family. I don't know. Maybe that's in other people's households. I'm not sure. Um,
yeah, man. So let's see, where am I at here?
okay, wait, okay. Now that we're at like the party scene, I did have something I want to bring up because this very much it irks me really bad.
Okay.
We start this movie at this party scene when she's getting thrown up on.
Yes, and
Correct.
we circle back around to it. Yes.
But the scenes are completely different.
Because in the opening, when she gets puked on, it comes out of nowhere. But when we circle back to the puke, she's like filming this girl for no reason
Yeah, so that is just confusing because
and a
okay,
glaring continuity point.
yeah, like that irks me so bad. Like that is such a it's the scene you start your movie with. How are you not going to remember what it look? Also, why is it what? Like why did you reshoot that? Like why didn't you just record
Use the yeah.
and then use the same
Why didn't you shoot if you needed the opening to be what it was? Why didn't you shoot this scene and then use like the snippet in the beginning?
exactly. Why did you re-record that? Cuz she's not going to do it the exact same the entire time. So you're literally just purposefully making it bad.
Hard to
Like you're
edit. Yeah.
that's so weird. Like it doesn't make any it's confusing too because if you don't really catch that beginning scene where like what she's wearing or what
I
she's
mean, I
doing
was
or
on
what happened,
DoorDash during the opening scene, so don't
you're
blame you
like,
for missing out.
yeah, like what if you didn't catch that she's wearing the same clothes or she's at the same party? Like
It
that
would
can
have
be
been kind of
confusing.
funny though if she was wearing different clothes, because
This
then it'd be
happens
like, oh,
twice.
Shane's making a joke, but no, it's not. It's Shane fucking forgot the continuity of his own film.
Yeah. It I don't understand. That felt like such an afterthought. The beginning scene. Cuz why does it not match? It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it not to match. That's like just not no excuses for that. Just pay attention to your own writing.
And then so Joel is talking to Tori about like his love of Janie's character. And so a little Drew bit that's pretty funny is when he's simulating face sitting, but like he clearly doesn't know how it works. And then she's on the side like that's not how it works. And then like she's like, "Did you just spit?" And he's like, "Yes, like of course you got to do that." And she's like, "What? Why would you do that?" And that's kind of funny. And had they played this scene of them being like friends and her feeling sorry for him, knowing he's going down this road, but like trying to give him some advice, it
Yeah.
would have been even better and probably even more funny.
Yeah, but she's just so horrible
So
to him the
shitty to
whole
him.
time. Like you don't believe that she actually is trying to help him.
She's
I don't know.
clowning on him.
Yeah, and which it's a horrible idea to make like one of the main characters of your movie constantly clown on the only like kind of saving grace of your movie. barely.
Because then you dislike her
That.
because she's shitting on poor Drew. Yeah, it's a lot. But like I said, it was a fun little bit, and I thought it didn't go too much. It
Yeah.
borderlined, but it didn't go too much.
Yeah, it was teetering on the edge.
And maybe if it was a different actor and not Drew, it would have been less funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'll give it points for that.
Like-
Also like that he says like how many times he's like, I've done this like 17 times or like 23. It was a prime number. I love that he like does that little
Yeah.
bit, like the fact, like that again. It's good. And
That sounds like
I
Drew to
wonder.
me.
Yeah, I was like, that had to have been ad libbed.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next bit. Oh yeah, and we see more of Shane's drag character. There's this whole like popular clique that Janie hangs out with, but it seems like, or in high school, where and it says Shane being like, bitch, let's do drugs.
I don't even understand her friend
He
group.
literally has a line where he's like, I've only been roofied and fingered twice at this party, and it's like there's a lot of rape jokes in this as well, which is like really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Like there's one that could have been kind of funny, which is toward the end of the movie when Shane yells, "She raped me," and the guy goes over to the board. This is like rapes at the party, like erases the 0 and puts a 1 and goes like, if that was the only time that there was a rape, which rape jokes aren't funny. It's not great. Let's not joke about that.
But if we have
to, that one wasn't as bad as the rest. He also uses the word retarded a lot, which is not aged very well.
No, it definitely did not age very well.
But also this was 2014. So again, aged is a different term. I know it's been 9 years, but yeah, wasn't great then either.
If we were talking about like Superbad, I'd be like, okay, well, you know.
But Superbad is a really well written and performed film. So even though if there's some stuff in there that doesn't age as well, it's still at its core was a good movie, a really good movie. I love Superbad.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Not Cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Well, I mean, wait, hang on. I wanted to make a couple of different points here. This is a Shane Dawson deep cut, if
okay,
anybody knows. So after he made the movie and he did like his press tour, he won, blah 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 blah. He like went on a little internet like interview show on YouTube, and I can't even remember the name of it now. I'll send it to you, so like if you want to put that in, cool. But
we'll insert some clips.
Yeah, there's a couple different times where he's like talking about the movie, because the interview guy clearly either doesn't know about the situation surrounding the movie or like what it was about, or 2, he just knows that Shane's gonna get him views, so he's just agreeing with everything he says, or maybe both, I'm not really sure. But he says like, oh, like there was a lot of like really bad press or something like that around the movie or whatever, and he says something about how the producers were friends with Anna Martinucci, the other director.
A.M. Lucas.
A.M. Yeah. Oh yeah, her name. Yeah, okay.
That's
A.M.
a cool
Lucas.
side note.
That is a cool name. I like that. He says like, oh well, the producers were friends with the other directors, and she was like really good friends with them, and they didn't want me to win, but like I won anyway, so whatever. And then in another one, the interviewer says something about like how difficult it was to find talent and like how there was issues with the script, and he says like there was only one rape joke, which is not that offensive, like it was funny, and like that's like literally what he says.
There's
I'm like,
literally like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and even then he's like, well, and it's not that offensive, and it's like,
but also you don't get to decide what's offensive.
Yeah,
different people have interpretations, like what's offensive, like what my boundaries of things and other people's boundaries are completely different. I know we don't have to go into that spiel.
He didn't say offensive. He said mean. He's like, it wasn't that mean.
meanness aside, still, I think this whole movie is very mean spirited. But
Yeah, like the whole movie's surrounding around.
but again, being like
He's
it's just
capable of
one
that.
rape joke, which is like a very bold statement,
He's
but
like, it's just
also
one.
a glaringly wrong statement. Because, like I said, I counted 5, but there's probably more.
Yeah, there's probably more that you miss while you
Because there's the
disassociate while you watch
board,
this movie.
there's the she raped me, and then there's the girl talks about like, oh, last time we went to your grandma's house, she like pretended to fall and grabbed my cooch, and then the girl goes like, oh, my dad must fall all the time. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Those were close together. Those 2 of those were like the same scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be like, it was
words.
just one joke. No, it was multiple jokes. But even then,
He's like, let me have my one rape joke. No,
I'm allotted 1 rape joke per film. Like,
I'm allowed 1 per film, and I'm using it right now. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
and it's not even that mean.
It's not even that mean.
Jesus.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of that. And then there's this bit. So Joel's interacting with Janie, and he like tries to photobomb her. He's like, photobomb, and he like knocks her drink all over her. And I don't understand. Like, I understand the context of the scene, but I don't understand. Like, you know what I mean? So they go into the bathroom, and the guy comes out, and he's like, I wouldn't use all those hand towels. And there's like 13 hand towels I counted in the scene, and it's like, did you wipe up? Were you just like slop like cleaning things? I understand the joke is like that he cleaned up jizz with the rags.
Yeah, no, I get.
But there's a lot of hand towels in there, so it's like, what? How much fluid were you cleaning up, my guy?
It's fluids. It's a Shane Dawson movie. He's really in fluids
everywhere.
It's so wet. The movie is so wet. It's dripping. I can't do it.
It's like Jason from Part 8. It's just like the slimiest, gross thing.
No. Stop
Oh
it.
my god. But yeah, and I know the point of it was that because the joke is he goes in, can't use the towels, and like just kind of wraps his hand in toilet paper and tries to like dab the drink away. I know that's the joke, but I think there might have been a better way. You could have just taken out there could have been 1 hand towel in there. And then it could have been more like, and I know we're really picking apart the continuity in a Shane Dawson film, but just to me, I'm like, that could have easily been fixed by set dressing.
Yeah. Also, one scene to the next, she's like completely dry, and it's like she looks fine. Like,
yeah, he's dabbing.
She's like
nothing.
so upset.
He was trying his best to like dab this completely bone dry woman.
Yeah, like she does. She's like so upset about it, but she literally looks fine. It's like, okay.
Which yeah, because she had like a glass of champagne. I don't think she had like a solo cup. Wasn't it like a glass of champagne?
Yeah, like it looked like water.
Which is a weird high school party drink. Like high schoolers aren't as like,
Yeah.
got the champagne. Like, no, that's like 40-year-old moms.
No, that's me with my sparkling grape juice.
Or with your ginger ale.
Yeah, me with my ginger ale.
But yeah, she's like drinking out of like this like little like champagne glass, and it's like such a weird thing to see because it's a high school party. There's supposed to be a bunch of solo cups of liquor.
He wants to make a stereotypical like teen like comedy.
Like it looks like our Real Housewives of Woodsboro throw, but we had more liquid.
No, I was more drenched in that than she was in the movie. I almost drowned. And
maybe I'll splice a little bit of that scene in here for context.
Yeah.
It's just with Olivia getting waterboarded.
Absolutely waterboarded. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for her.
Yeah, so again, and this is him trying, like, he can't get her to go on a date. So he's like, I'll help you study for, and again, there's another rape joke in here because the teacher they call like, it has something, his last name they incorporate rape into.
Yeah. And then they just talk about, she talks about the final being after Thanksgiving break, and now he's a fascist. And I wrote down, why is he a fascist for giving a final right after break? Like, what does that have to do? Like, I feel like Shane's just putting in
Yeah, like
random
you're
words.
coming up on finals anyway. Because Thanksgiving break leads into Christmas vacation.
Yeah. So were you not
That's
prepared?
when you
That's your
take your
fault.
finals, you fucking idiots.
Yeah. That's gonna be me all this next week.
Like, are all teachers fascists for this?
Yeah. Test questions.
What is
Bubbly
this,
ink A, B,
communism?
C, or D.
Fuck off, man.
Scantrons. That's offensive. Okay.
Uh, all right, so then we see the various. Oh no, so she hits Shane with the car,
That was my favorite part of the movie.
but it's like
Um,
I know the meat. Like you could have almost hit him and then been like not because again he doesn't recognize her even though she looks exactly the fucking same.
you
And
know,
he's like,
he's like,
"Oh,
"Who are
Tori the
you?"
Hori." Yeah, everyone's squinting, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Fuck off!" You're like
Who?
4
Like,
feet
open
away
your
from each other.
eyes. You would be able to see her then.
But they like, he's like asked her to like drive him to try to stalk his ex, which is like really creepy.
Oh, yes, because also why? Like, first of all, no means no, and
Yes.
also we are never given any reason to think that they're like some power couple that like deserve to be together. Like, if anything,
Was the implication that they were like high school sweethearts because he
I
came back from
guess,
college? They don't. We again we talk about over explaining. This is something that's severely under explained.
yeah.
Because you could have said like, oh, they were prom king and queen. They dated the entire high. Like she could have thrown in like, oh, you were always attached at the hip. Blah blah blah. None of
But
that.
we
It's
never.
none of that. Oh shit! Smack the shit out of my microphone. It's like they never said that. Shit. Uh, so yeah, and then they immediately have sex because she's like, oh, I probably would have sex with you, but that doesn't mean I like you. And
And it's
then
like,
he's like, oh, you have sex with me, and
what?
then they have, yeah, and then it cuts to them like sloppily making out, like a
Yeah.
very bad. But also, I think she has like some like he gets lipstick and things smeared on his face. Like Shane's version of making out, like no one's lips actually touch lips. It's like this rub your lips across my face.
Well, that's the thing is like the way that he gets into the truck
I feel
and
so
then
bad for Ryland because Shane's version of passion is this like let me like just like maul your face.
I don't think they touch.
Sleep in separate beds.
No, I think they do. I don't think that they're like the grandparents from Charlie and Chocolate Factory, like toe to toe. I think they're in completely separate beds. They are my
Separate
grandparents.
rooms.
Separate rooms, even. They're across the hall. I don't think they touch.
Oh shit.
I'm like, I really don't think so.
That's the real conspiracy.
That is the second most real conspiracy.
You gotta cue that music, like the conspiracy music.
Yeah. There,
These are all
just play
notes
that.
for me editing later to try to like viciously get in After Effects.
Okay. So in Holidaysburg, this makes way more sense. Like you could tell that Shane cut a lot out of the script here. There's a lot missing. In Holidaysburg,
Gotta make room for that glory hole scene.
yeah, well, that takes 20 minutes of a movie.
And this movie's only 91 minutes. It feels like fucking hours.
It does. It feels like centuries.
It's a long 90.
She hits him with the car. She gets out.
Oh, that's in the script?
Hmm?
The hitting the car, that's in the script?
Yeah, it's like, so in Holidaysburg, it happens. It's not as like hostile because she gets out and she's like, "Well, you're fine," and so she gets back in the car. In Holidaysburg, she does it on accident because she's a really bad driver, and there's actually a really funny scene where it takes her like a full 5 minutes to like turn around and back up, and she just keeps doing like these turns.
Like the Austin Powers bit.
And she's driving this like big van, like this big old van.
Like
and
Alana's van from Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. It literally looks like the Mystery Machine. And she gets out and he like wants to walk away and like he's like, I'm fine, it's whatever. And then she's worried that he has a concussion. But she's too
Okay,
scared.
so it's kind of like a cute, like, are you okay moment.
Yeah.
Not like a, oh, you're a piece of shit. I need a ride.
Yeah, like that's kind of they like meet like that.
Mom,
Like
can
she's
you
like,
pick
"Well, I'm
me up?
not."
I'm scared.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm not letting you leave because you might have a concussion," but she's too scared to take him to the hospital because she doesn't want to get in trouble for hitting someone
Mhm.
with her van. So he makes the deal like, "I will sleep overnight in the van and you can make sure I'm fine or whatever."
Oh,
And
that's
then
fun.
that's
That's a
how it happens.
Why didn't we just watch that movie instead? Like, we're doing a podcast over Holidaysburg because
I
like
don't
I
know
want to
why.
watch this
I
movie.
I actually really like that movie and I really like the director Am Lucas. She's in the movie too. She's not like a main character though. She plays a side
Yeah, because
character.
Shane writes himself in the movie so much. I'm like, what did he even have time to direct anything?
Yeah, because when you see him
He's in
directing
every
in the
scene.
chair, it's barely directing. He's literally just like yelling at everybody else.
He's like, ah, yeah, let's say an ass joke. It's like the worst entourage ever.
uh, but yeah, I wanted to just put that in there for comparison. Like, if it feels disjointed, that's because it is. Like, it was very confusing to watch Shane on the ground and then randomly in the van and then them making out. Like, there was no like clear transition there.
There's
It
no
happens
real
way quicker.
human conversation. It's just like,
Yeah.
we need them to fuck. So like, how do we do it? They bring up the fact that they might fuck.
Yeah.
They're
It's
literally
not
like,
even.
oh, wouldn't it be funny if we had sex? And then they had sex.
Yeah,
The
it's
plot
actually
moves
like
forward.
cute in the other movie. Like they when they how they meet. It's
Yeah, and like there's like there's like little things that get them to like kind of connect, but it's not just like, well, they need to fuck right now and push them together and put our faces into each other. It's like Shane has
yeah.
like two like Barbie, like a Barbie and Ken, and he just kind of like smacks them together. He's like, and that's screenwriting, folks.
that is that is it. That's all it is. I don't even need to go to Ball State.
We learned everything we need to.
I've learned
I
everything.
mean, Shane didn't go to film school.
He went to he's studying stupid.
Just great joke, Olivia. Number one gold star joke.
Leave that in. Leave that in.
Not gonna.
I'm spitting over here.
You definitely don't need a screenwriting class. You fucking nailed it.
Also, how did she even hit him? Like, why was he running out in the road like a deer? Like he should
Well, she
have
said
seen the
he
truck.
jumped out in front of her, but so it's like she's pulling up and she's like so close, and he's just like,
Yeah, it borderline looks on purpose.
he jumped into her car. This is a horror film. This is like, this man is stalking her, and he jumped into her car. So
He's like,
he
and I'm
was
gonna
like,
jump in the car.
so would it be funny if we had sex? Like, what?
Like that would have been a better movie.
Call the police. Jesus Christ. So then we get the two Thanksgivings, which apparently is what the original script was supposed to center around in the first place.
Yep.
And it's just a quick. So like we see the two various Thanksgivings. So her Thanksgiving, she's trying to like guzzle wine because like we meet her blind sister's boyfriend, who's always this like goes for the easy joke, and he's like, I thought of it myself. I just, these things come to me, and that kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, he is in a lot of Shane Dawson projects.
And who is he though? Like what is his actual relationship to Shane?
I think
Or is he
they
just like an
met.
actor that he found?
I think he's just an actor that he found because
And he was
he's
like,
not.
man, this guy's kind of funny. Let me keep casting him.
If you look on the IMDb, he's like kind of he's. I don't know. I feel like he looks really familiar. Like he's been in a lot of Shane stuff before. I just have no idea where he came.
There is a lot of recurring Shane Dawson people in this, which we kind of hinted at, but like there is a lot of Shane Dawson people in here.
Okay, well, his name is Ryan Radis, and he's been in Ray Donovan, Hancock, and NCIS.
Okay, so this is like an actual actor. Like this guy has a career. He's been in all those things in this movie.
He was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay, so this guy's nailing it. Other than this project, again, just like the main actress.
Which is interesting because he was also in the show that Shane's girlfriend at the time made. So they all kind of revolve in each other's circle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a red flag. If you can only get the same people to be in your stuff, unless you're Adam Sandler, then it's
or
okay.
Kevin Smith.
Or Kevin Smith.
A lot of people cast their friends, and that's fine if your friend group isn't a toxic group.
But notice how he's not friends with any of them anymore.
He's doing actual work.
Shane's doing actual work?
No, the guy who played.
Oh, I was talking about Shane. I was like, he's not friends with any of these people anymore.
No one likes him. He's hard to work with.
Boo. Also,
if Trisha Paytas cuts you out of her life,
you did something.
Toxic, something fucked up.
Yeah.
And I love Trisha. I love to watch the train wreck of Trisha Paytas.
Yeah. She's a chicken nugget, and I love it.
Man, I could watch hours of just her crying on the floor. And there exist hours of her crying on the floor. That girl has a mental breakdown like every 20 minutes. She's probably about due for one right now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, she has a kid now.
And that don't mean nothing.
That's true. I don't like living in a world where Trisha Paytas can.
When we cover her Big Brother season, you got to come on the pod for that. She's only in a few episodes.
Yeah, she just cries because she wants a washcloth.
Same thing with the Andrew Tate's Big Brother season. You got to come on that one.
No.
He's only in a couple episodes too.
I hate him. I don't care.
Also, Sam Pepper was on Big Brother.
He sucks too.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a recurring theme here, you know. Okay, back to not cool.
I just want to keep talking about Holidaysburg because I was just gonna bring up something else about it, but
go ahead.
Whatever. No, we'll talk about this movie.
No, while I find my place in my notes, you go ahead and talk about a better movie.
A fun little fun fact. This is just something like stupid and small that like I shouldn't pick apart, but I'm going to because I don't like Shane. Is he named his movie Not Cool because you get it? He's not cool, and none of them are cool. They're not cool, right? It's boring and I hate it. But her movie is called Holidaysburg, which is a real town in Pennsylvania.
Oh, so I thought it was just a combination of like Pittsburgh and the holidays, but no, it's a real town.
Yeah, it's the real name of a town in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's fun.
So she like tied
it works on multiple levels, yeah.
Yes! See? She
smart writing.
Queen. I love her. She's the coolest.
What else has she done?
She doesn't really do much. It seems like she's like a more indie. Like she does a lot of smaller stuff.
But she still works. Like she still puts out product.
It seems like she writes and produces more than directs.
Which I wouldn't blame her. This was probably not a fun experience for her because she put all this work, made it better film, and got just like shit on. Yeah. Not by like actual people that matter, but by like Shane Dawson community.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure what she's doing now because her website doesn't really
looks old and like abandoned.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It might be haunted. Cue another Shane Dawson opening.
Let's just get through this. I'm tired of talking about him.
Yep. So then there's another Thanksgiving scene of like Janie and Shane's character, and okay, so the joke is supposed to be like the crazy aunt telling a crazy story about aliens, but they called her Aunt Flo. So they just threw a lowball period joke in there, you know? So it's I'm already like done with it, like before the scene's really even begun. And she's talking about alien, like, but she's going too much. Because again, this is a Shane thing. So it's like a normal director would, because she's not a bad actress, but they would take her performance and try to like reel it in. Right, because like the lines she's saying can be funny, but she's like really physically in it, and you could be like, all right, let's do it again, but like this isn't an SNL skit. Let's dial it back a little bit, and like let the words you're saying be the comedy, not your whole fucking body be the comedy. You're not having an exorcism. Like let's dial it back.
And I mean, she's only the butt of the joke because she's crazy and like. Okay.
Like, and again, I think it's Shane's like thing of like having to have every woman be a horrible person, because
I
also like
know.
Tori's mom is also like a really shitty person because she's trying to sleep with everyone.
Yeah. But
Like
then
there's a
notice
bit with
he's
like
the good
has like their
person.
finger in her mouth at one point during
Yeah.
the scene. Like fish hooks her.
It's just so ridiculous. And what makes me even more mad is that Thanksgiving scene with like with Janie and Shane. Like that could have been a funny scene where they're both still stuck at the kids table.
And it would be a good point to show their bond or connection as a brother and sister, even if it's like the whole point is that it's not where it should be and they reconcile at the end. But we could see maybe tidbits of how it used to be, because they're both very much, they don't want to be here, and they can make a few jokes back and forth, maybe some inside
Yeah.
jokes they've had as a kid, and like it starts to be, and maybe she tries to bring up some stuff she wants to talk about, and he's like shuts her down and goes into what he wants to talk about, because that's supposed
Yeah.
to be the point. But instead we go too much on the gag and not enough on the story, which is like literally this whole entire thing.
No, each line is just serving
A joke.
it's yeah, like each line is just rushing to get to the next line. And it's like, okay, now what? Now we've gotten to the next joke. Now where do we go? And it's like to the next
To the
joke.
next joke,
It's like, okay,
dummy.
well, we don't have a storyline. We have no character.
Goddamn right, we got to get to the next joke.
We gotta keep going.
So we got to move. We only got 90 minutes of jokes. It's the longest, most grueling stand-up set you've ever seen.
This movie genuinely makes me want to scream and cry and thrash and punch the wall and shoot through the ceiling into the
And also
sun.
Shane's entire like character revolves around his hair, which seems like the most vain thing.
Which, like, okay, if we want to make his character super vain and obviously very like self-involved, I guess make his hair that, but we don't.
He's constantly like, he's like they're talking about their genetics, like how about like addiction runs in their family, and he's like, at least it's not baldness. And like talking about his hair, and he's like flipping his hair, and like,
And then he shaves it at the end to be symbolic, I guess.
but it's not like they really it's not earned.
Shane fake crying, LOL.
Because he can't
Do it.
produce even like if you squint hard enough, you could get a little something. Like you're not going to get tears, but you're going to get a little water buildup because you're constantly like pressing your eyes together. But he couldn't even do that, or even put some drops in before the scene, something.
Exactly. Like it's just constant mediocrity. That
Not
makes me
even
wanna scream.
mediocrity. Like it's like constant just garbage.
Yeah, I was being too nice.
Because even if this movie was meh, that would be better than what it is. And it's not even like laughably bad. It's the kind of it's you just want to not exist.
It's just bad.
Yeah,
Not exist.
it's
should
the
have been
worst
name of the
kind.
movie.
It's not even the kind of movie you can get together with your friends and have like a good, like have a couple of drinks and a few laughs about. Like it's more so you're just like, oh man, there's so many other things I could be doing right now.
I cannot crack open a ginger ale and enjoy this movie.
You're like, I won't waste a ginger ale
No.
on Shane Dawson content.
I want to repeatedly crush ginger ale cans against my head until I am touching my brain, because I don't want to have to deal with this movie. Like, I'm even taking my contacts out. I don't want to see this anymore. I've seen enough.
So yeah, and they have this whole like Just Dance bit, and Shane like sprints to her house.
Yeah, because why did he do that though? Girl, we know you don't run.
And also, like, you could have put like some like fake, like patted some water, some perspiration on his brow.
I know, he just shows up like
he's as dry as Janie at the party. Like he's
literally.
And she's like, "Did you run here?" And he's like, oh, "Yeah, I did."
He does do that. That's actually so funny.
And then her mom comes out, she's like, "Ooh, who's this?" And she's like there's a point where Shane like throws his like jacket off because he layers like Mr. Rogers. Like he puts so many layers of clothing on.
Like Mr. Rogers.
Because it's like it's a jacket over a vest over like a button-up shirt. It's like, God damn, Shane, like you're not 85.
But you know what makes me feel bad is like, because he said before that he just did that because he was really insecure about his body. But then it's like, okay, but then why did you cast yourself as the main character?
You put yourself in a spot, my guy.
Yeah, I can
And this
only
is
be so
probably the best
sympathetic.
Shane ever looked. Like, this is probably the best shape Shane was ever in. And I'm not trying to take a stab at him. I'm just saying that, like, I understand what he was thinking. Like, oh, I can, like, really, like,
Yeah.
this was not the project to do this in. But there's a point where he, like,
Nope.
throws his jacket off, and everyone goes, like, and, like, gives him the eyes and shit. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, you really needed, like, all the validation that Shane's needed his entire life. He really crammed into this film.
No, literally. And that's the thing is that he continues to get that in his vlogs now because he's constantly like, well, I
Because
know I
now it's
don't.
self-deprecative, where he's like, I don't look like I used to, and I'm drinking Dr. Pepper
And it's
instead of
like,
water.
like,
It's lazy self-deprecation. It's not even like a joke. It's just really awkward.
yeah, because you're just like, you want to, like, I don't want to
Okay.
make him feel better about himself, but I also don't want to be a horrible person. So you just kind of like awkwardly laugh. Like, yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, you look like really bad.
Take a drink every time forced laughter enters a Shane Dawson project.
Ugh. It's
Everyone's
always
like,
the cameraman, too.
Pay me. Keep those checks coming, Shane. I'll keep laughing.
Ugh.
All right, let's move on. Let's get through this movie.
I
There's just
hate
so
this
much,
movie.
so much rage that, you know, I guess it was a good idea for a podcast. I just hate that I had to, like, this is a big chunk of my day.
What I hate the most about this is the fact that I had to do it.
Valid. So yeah, they do like the dance off, and basically he's like, if I win, you have to kiss me, and she's like, if I win, you have to leave.
That was actually kind of funny.
And then she wins because she, like, shits on him during the thing where she's like picking apart his insecurities. I'm like, ooh. And everyone's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And
I
he's like,
mean,
I guess I'll do what you want and leave.
I know. Why is he like literally? You guys never cared about each other up until this moment. This is why it
You
works
guys
so
have,
much better
like,
in
really have only
Holidaysburg.
connected outside of physically for like a day. They haven't even had their fun little scene together yet, like their little montage. And I say fun as in, like, the context of the script, not that I enjoyed it. So it's like there's no, like, basis for this to hit other than, like, it's like 20 minutes into the movie. We should probably have an emotional beat. It's
Yeah.
like we're trying to follow the formula, but we're not going to do anything to actually play into the formula. We're just going to be like, oh yeah, that's a thing we have to hit, so let's do that.
Yeah. That's why it works so well in Holidaysburg is like they share a whole night. They actually
This whole podcast is an advertisement for Holidaysburg.
No, it really is, man. And for Drew Monson's new album, go listen to it. It's
just for Drew
really
Monson
good.
as a character. He's a shining light in this universe that needs to be appreciated more.
Yeah, his album's so good.
Sorry, I took a lot of notes about how much I hated that scene with the dance.
No, because it's stupid.
Okay, and so the next scene, Joel is planning, because he's like Facebook stalking Janie again. This gets like borderline horror film, and he's talking about like trying to get like the perfect date together, which could be kind of cute. But then he trails off into the like miming a blowjob by like enlarging and minimizing the photo.
Yeah.
And her dad is literally like, there's no way he doesn't hear this, because he's like, he's in a tiny ass record store. So like the acoustics are, yeah, they're already there. But he's also like right off frame. Like he has to be standing like right here.
Yeah.
And he's just like yelling about ejaculation.
Oh, I just hate it. I don't.
But again, Drew tries to save the scene because the dad comes in. He's like, what are you looking at? He's like, internet stuff. And he's like, gotta go study for a class, sex ed, actually. Like,
yeah,
that we brought it back to comedy, because it's like this guy's trying to like play up, even though no one believes that he's, you know, a person who has sex. He's like, I take the sex classes. I do all the sex stuff. It's
Yeah,
very funny.
but then it gets annoying because it's like, okay, we get it.
Drew's trying. He's doing his
Drew's
best.
trying. That poor kid.
And that's all we ask of him. And we love and support. This is therapy for Drew. I hope this gets back to him.
I hope he knows that I watch his videos regularly every time they come out, and I also have had his album on repeat. So he's got at least one person behind him.
Then so in the next scene, he's trying to like get a dress for her to wear, and it's funny because he's like trying them on.
Yeah, that
This was
actually
funny.
really funny.
This scene was funny because when Shane's character pops up, he's like, Joel? He's like, hey man, what's up? And he pulls the curtain back. It's fun. It's a fun little
like,
scene.
Janie send you, and it's like, what?
He's like, nothing, and he gets back. It's because he's like, yeah, what do you think? Is this too much? Like, he goes, because it fits
the
great.
most revealing dress, and it's like, yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Like, and again, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think Shane wrote this scene in, but most of it is the performance that makes it like fun. Again, it's a chance. Like their characters are supposed to be friends. Let's play into it with better dialogue.
Yeah, and I like that. Like, Tori's there helping him. Like, but it's just like she's so brooding and miserable all the time that like you're brooding and miserable too.
Yeah, so they bump into each other, and she's like, "Are you stalking me?" And he's like, "No, I was here taking photos of Black Friday chaos," which I think is a fun little detail. And he's like, "Look at all these people getting tasered," and then because she goes, "Are you stalking me?" And then police officer played by professional wrestler Kurt Angle. I was actually like, "Oh my god, it's someone I know." He's like, "Is he stalking you?" And he tases him. That was fun. That was a funny scene, but her taking the selfie again brings it like too mean-spirited, too much. Like it could have been like her being like reacting like, "Ooh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that," and then that will play the comedy. But again, Shane can't. He's like, "No, more, bigger, more." He's like the worst theater instructor.
Yeah,
he's like, "No, play it bigger, play it bigger."
Yeah.
But I was like, man, they got Kurt Angle. It just shows, man, if you give him a paycheck, that man will arrive.
I mean, I don't know who that is.
He's a professional wrestler. He wrestled in like the late 90s, early 2000s, WWE champion, former Olympic gold medalist. Yeah, good wrestling legend, but is kind of notorious for like, you pay him, he shows up. He's been in a lot of movies and that. He was in Sharknado 2.
He is an actor.
That's loose.
He is an actor.
He just plays like Kurt Angle dressed as character.
His character name actually never changes. He just plays himself in every movie.
So yeah, but again, I thought that was a fun scene. Maybe it's just because Kurt Angle was in it. I don't know. I also thought, okay, so the scene itself isn't funny, but the idea was, which is the girls are all texting Janie and it's all emojis and we get subtitles. Now, their conversation is stupid because it's Shane being like, we're slutty drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of like people texting through emojis and us getting subtitles is funny.
Yeah.
If it were properly executed.
Yeah.
Just wanted to touch on. And again, there's another thing too with her edgelord persona where she doesn't have a bucket list. She has a fuck it list where it's like, fuck. And he even goes, fuck it list. Is that like a bucket list? It's like, Shane, we don't have to explain it. We hear it and we know what it is. Okay. You won't flesh out a story, but you'll goddamn explain every joke.
Yeah.
And then he's like, shaving my head. I would never do that. It's like, wow, we're not setting up for the final act or anything.
Yeah, I know. The foreshadowing is not stupid. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's.
And then she tries to get him to shit in his ex's yard.
That's why I'm so confused. Does he want her back or not? Like.
And so my thing is, this scene could be funny. If he goes to shit in her yard and he obviously has like performance anxiety and he's like, you got to like cover your ears or whatever. And if she comes out and is upset and he jumps in and his like ass is still hanging out and then we drive away with that, that could have been kind of funny. Maybe she even like throws something that hits him in the ass or whatever. Like if you really wanted to like play it in a slapstick, but it still not be like garbage. But instead, there's this awkward thing where he's like, do I jump in the car? Do I not? And she has to tell him to, but it's like, yeah, you fucking idiot. You just jump in the window.
Yeah, because he tries to like get it and the door's locked and he's like, it's not unlocked. And I'm like,
It's like, bro,
The-
move.
the window is down.
Open. Wide ass open. And then also, she's not even mad. She's like, because she's like, oh, you never wanted to do poop stuff with me. And it's like, oh, God, Shane again. Got to go for the
Again?
bodily fluid.
Ugh. That's how I felt.
And also, they did this during the day. Wouldn't you do this at night?
Yeah, why are they doing it in broad daylight? Hello?
Like,
see
yeah,
how
she's
white
clearly
he is?
home and
It's literally
can
blinding.
see you. Anyone can see you. Anyone driving by can see you.
Yeah, like you think it's just a joke on your ex? The whole neighborhood has now seen both of your butt cheeks. Congrats.
Yeah, so then we get this montage where they're like buying large dildos and stealing shit from a grocery store, and she like puts like a watermelon as like a baby bump, and like again, there's another rape joke here. And then he trips her and she falls and it splats and it looks like that was kind of funny, but the scene went on way too long and there was already like too many failed jokes that I was already like just like let's fucking get past this
Move
already.
on. Yeah. Oh,
And go ahead.
this brought me to a technical thing here. That's
Okay.
really what I was paying attention to. It's just the framing is so bad that people's heads should not be cut off in your frame. Like when you look like this in your frame, something is wrong.
It looks like your mom trying to figure out Skype.
Literally. Looks like me trying to figure out this. Like, but I don't know if you noticed this. So you know when they're running through the frozen food section?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was struggling to keep my eyes on the screen, so you go ahead and play into this. I'm not gonna know.
They're like running through the frozen food section or whatever, and as somebody opens the door to the frozen food section, you can see the guy with the camera in the reflection.
Classic. Yeah, if you're on a low budget, you're not a great editor, you don't want to shoot near any sort of reflective surface. That's always like a filmmaking 101 thing. That's kind of funny. But no, I did notice that. But I'm not gonna watch this movie again to see it. So I'm just gonna.
That's all I do. It's like when I was watching this, I was just looking in the reflections of.
Well, yeah, this was like your fourth
many
or fifth go with this movie. See, I was coming in and having just to deal with this all fresh.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I guess that was more fair, is because I could watch this for the however many time I've watched it now and see, like I could go and look at details.
We're both viewing in a different perspective, I think.
Yeah. Somebody also put that on IMDb in the goofs section, which I think is really funny because I'm like, ha. Somebody else saw it and hated it.
So yeah, and then he gets high, which she explains later that like, oh, you didn't actually get high. It was just your butt. She like really goes into explaining it. But like she shoves like the brownie in his mouth, and like Shane can't resist a Shane delivery where he's like, oh, that's good. And it's like, oh, Shane, you can't. You always like you're supposed to be acting, not just like going back to the Shane Dawson well.
I hate this.
And then in the next scene, they're both showing their butts on a which that should be the whole scene of I mean, not like extended, but like that should be the bit, right? That they're putting their butts against the glass, right?
But it's not.
But it's not, because we pan over again, and guy that ate shit and piss is now rubbing his dick against the glass. So like this actor was willing to do it all for the role, and I applaud his enthusiasm.
No, he was willing and ready.
But man,
paid.
Yeah, he's the eat shit, sure. Drink piss, sure. Show my dick, whatever.
He was gonna get Employee of the Month.
Gold star.
Yep.
Again, it was like the joke was fine, but we go, what if we just fucking do more?
No one wants more. Just end it already.
Oh, so Joel and Jane. Joel gets like a party bus, but it's like the biggest, like weirdest looking. Because it's like this huge, like you would have like a group in a limb, and it's just them sitting like right next to each other with all of this like blank space, which plays into the awkwardness of the scene, I think. But Shane is playing the driver. So again, Shane has to do like a character.
Because
You
he's
can't.
so good at those.
But if Shane just played the side characters and not the lead, I think it would have been more tolerable. It's because like you can't get away from Shane. Like everywhere you go, Shane's just like peering around the corner, and you're like, God, no, we were just having fun here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him
it's
being
bad.
the cool, popular main character is just him.
And so like Joel tries to flirt and ends up just giving her like the test answers. And the password for this teacher's computer was like Ariana Grande's puffy nipples 555. And I was like, how old was Ariana Grande at this time? Was this like at the start of her music career? This was not too long after Nickelodeon, right? Like, how old was she?
Let's do the math.
Because this felt a little gross to me, which
because it is. Yeah. So she was probably around like 20.
Okay. So at least it's like legal
or
to say
20, 21.
It's still a little like but like at least she's an adult. Because there was part of me that was like, shit, was she still like a teenager on Nickelodeon? Because like if so, that's like it's a reach.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they would have let that in.
Shane was hell bent on getting all of the offensive shit in. I don't think he would have stopped at Ariana Grande.
Their test screenings was so bad, and on the chair when they did test screenings, like the audience was not laughing, and then he was talking about how he wasn't going to read any of the notes or like go out and hear any of the feedback, and he didn't, and it shows.
Yeah, but it's like the people that were showing up to these screenings were probably fans of his. So if your own fan base is like, maybe you should like change some shit up, my guy, because like this is literally tailor made for you to have a successful go here.
Yeah,
and you didn't stick the landing.
You had a built-in win basically with your audience.
This should have been an easy A. This should have been Emma Stone across the board, and it was not.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the Emma Stone joke.
but yeah, it was all garbage.
At this point in the movie is where I stopped taking notes because I realized I was just writing the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, I wrote a lot of the same things, but they go to like the dinner, so like Joel's like trying to play into a perfect night, and it's starting to work a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
There's this Shane again does another Shane delivery where he says "motherfucker French fries." There's a certain ways of saying things that just like I know. Like it's just Shane being Shane, and I don't know. It's just you lose points.
It takes you out of it because it's like that's just Shane.
The blow up doll bit was funny though. How he gave like the backstory to the blow up doll, that was funny.
Yeah.
Again, small things work. They talk about the crying photo and about how like she got stood up by a guy who took her virginity, which should be played very emotionally, but because of how this movie is, we don't really care.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to a What's Eating Gilbert Grape reference, which pretending to be Leonardo DiCaprio and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, not great. But do I love that movie? Yes. So like I half allowed it.
We're reaching for anything positive at this point.
Yeah, it's like they're like, yeah, Gilbert Grape, and it's like that was a good movie. Yeah, I'll give it points for that. That works in this movie.
He's seen a movie.
He's seen a movie that's good.
You would never know it.
Yeah, you're right. You would think he's only like he's never seen any films. He's only like been in his own brain.
That's terrifying.
So it's just a nightmare. But she figures out that Joel's been like Facebook stalking her, and that like this night is literally just like her made for her. Meanwhile, Shane and our leads go to this football stadium. He Tebows at one point, which kind of dates the film a little bit. We get some dead mom backstory and stuff, which is supposed to again play for romance, but we don't care.
This scene in Hollidaysburg is really good.
Is there a football stadium scene in Hollidaysburg?
No, so look.
Okay.
Keep talking.
No, go ahead. No,
No,
anytime we can
like
talk about another movie, like we're gonna do that.
I'm not kidding. I'm so miserable. I hate this movie.
You
Why?
did. This was your idea. You did this. But it went to a reference that caught me by surprise because I didn't expect a reference to this. And I did geek out, but I thought it could have been done better. So Joel and Janie go to this little place and people are playing the theme song to Degrassi. And there's a lot of Degrassi references. And I love Degrassi. So I was like, fuck yeah, Degrassi. And then Drew's like, yeah, that show was dark. It went there. And I was like, it did go there. Man, I wish I was watching Degrassi. But I'm like, there are so many people from Degrassi that are like actually good musicians.
Uh-huh.
Specifically Jake Epstein, who played. Why didn't they cast Jake Epstein? He should have been playing the guitar and singing the song, because then it would have been like, not only did he get someone to play, he got people from Degrassi to play the Degrassi thing. And then when she like storms out after the kiss, they could be like, man, it's just like that time. Like Jake Epstein can reference his character Craig. I mean, like, oh man, it's like that time Craig tried to balance two girls at one time and it blew up in his face. Am I right? And he's like, not now, Jake Epstein. And then he like storms out. Like, that would have been a better use of Degrassi that plays into your story. And I thought of that in 2 minutes.
Well,
just saying.
Well, it doesn't take much to outdo Shane, but I will say him putting in any sort of Degrassi reference honestly doesn't surprise me, because he used to have a man, I would be a lot better at explaining this if I've seen the show. But
one day
he did a bunch of parodies of Degrassi. I don't know if you've seen them.
Okay, so Shane's like a fan. I didn't know how deep this was.
Yeah, he's a fan. He used to do a bunch of parodies of it. And
but again, you got Kurt Angle. You couldn't have paid for Jake Epstein. I know he's not that expensive. Sorry, maybe I'm just too much of a Jake Epstein fanboy. I don't know how this goes. Really, well, there's a bunch of people on Degrassi who do music.
He did blackface.
Oh, is that the video? He does blackface in? Because I heard about the controversy.
Which video? There's many.
There's multiple that he does blackface, and then he wondered why that shit came back on him.
Yeah, he used to do it all the time. He
but
did
for
multiple.
Like, what was the character he was playing?
Hang on, I can't remember her name.
Oh, it was another drag character?
No. He was playing a character from Degrassi.
Hazel?
Confused. Liberty Van Zant.
Liberty. Oh my god.
I've never seen the show, so
I don't know if you're ready for Degrassi yet. That's a journey.
Here, I'll show you.
Liberty's a huge character, but I think he's only seen Degrassi the Next Gen. I've gone from like Degrassi Junior High all the way through Next Class, so like I write deeper cuts than he would. But you know what? Shane Dawson was never on Degrassi. Kevin Smith was. Take that, Shane Dawson.
Wait. Yeah, so he's like parodying Degrassi, but he plays like all of the characters.
Yeah, but you could have played Liberty without having to. It's never okay.
This is what it looked like. Oh shit.
Oh no. He looks like a puppet.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It gets worse. He's done this multiple times because he did multiple parodies, and then he also did a parody of Nicki Minaj and did that a bunch. He did one of what's his name? Randy Jackson, because he did American Idol parody. But yeah, I just know him about like because
But yeah,
he
so then
did.
we get this really weirdly written scene where like Shane's character is getting like too attached and wanting to like instead of going and dealing with his problems, just like crawl in a relationship. And she's like, nope, not about that. But it's played in such a weird, awkward way that it feels like there was a much longer scene that got cut. But it's like that's what you cut. You cut like the scene that makes sense to the movie.
The scene that adds depth.
Yeah, Johnny depth. Anyway, it's like Gil. I'm like, these things just come to me. It's in my head. He goes to Janie and she's like, "You're never there for me. I'm about to be there for you," and have the most awkward hug in cinema history. Joel kind of gets that like him and Janie are just friends, and it's never gonna happen. Which I like that the movie didn't have her like fall in love with him. I like that she's like the whole time is very much like we are friends, and he has to like come to terms with that. I like that. In a better movie, that could have been really powerful.
Yeah. In a different world where Shane Dawson doesn't exist, that would have been really good.
In a world clean of Shane Dawson.
In a world that's
no one does blackface.
Clean. Ugh.
Bleached. So yeah, and there's this weird part where Shane's dad's like, "Go to the party," and I thought it because he shows up at the party later, and I thought it would have been funny if because he says multiple times in this movie like, "I know everything," and if he shows up at the party and Janie's like, "What are you doing here?" and he's like, "I told you, I know everything," and one of the kids comes up is like, "Oh hey," and like high fives him like he's like knows all like he's like in the know of like shit. I thought that would have been a fun little joke, but again, that would be too much.
It would have been fun if we weren't doing this. So miserable.
So yeah, and then Shane's ex comes in, like jumps his bones, so we get another odd sex scene. We get the rape jokes we talked about earlier. The folks come home and clear out the house. Joel's about to hook up with also Shane Dawson. And we get a weird cutaway where the Shane character lifts up his shirt and then it cuts to an actual pair of boobs. But it's like a clear cut. And it's just very odd and just unsettling.
That's the whole movie. It's all odd and unsettling.
Sure. But Joel hooks up with Shane's character, and it's like on very odd make. I guess I don't think Shane Dawson knows how to like kiss a human being.
Also weird because Drew was like just 18 and
Shane's like almost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit gross.
You're weird.
Just leave little baby Drew alone.
Leave him alone. I love him.
And then he does the thing where he's like, "I'm cutting my hair for you," but the first two like swipes, he doesn't actually cut his hair. They just style his hair to the side so that he can just like run it through and it looks like something has been taken away. I'm like, if you're going to cut your hair for the movie, cut it on camera. Fuck it.
He did.
But he didn't do it all the, like, you know, like they cut around it. Like it would have been if he just does it and he like takes a clean, just like fucking headpiece off.
And I remember that being a big deal because they're like, we can only shoot it once. And then it was like a big deal because
But it's also not that hard of a scene to shoot. Point the camera at him shaving his fucking head.
And then it was like a big deal for him to shave his head and whatever. And then I remember after, like while they were filming the movie, like when that part was
he had a wig on so that his videos wouldn't give it away.
Yeah.
But it's like also
big deal. Like he cut his hair because it was like part of his brand.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, when your hair is part of your brand, you fucked up.
Yeah, when your hair is part of your brand and it looks like somebody put peanut butter on your head and stuck you in the freezer.
Yeah, all the peanut butter he's supposed to use for fake poops in his hair. Had to use the brownie. So yeah, then they all go to a party. There's a very long dance scene.
He sucks
everyone's
so
like
bad.
Happy, and then we get like the outtakes of all the different cuts, and you can just hear Shane in the background going like, "Do a butt joke," and it's like, man, you're like the worst friend. Like everyone's having fun joking around, and Shane's like, "Ha, wouldn't it be funny if there's a dick in there?" It's like, oh yeah, Jane, I guess that'd be kind of funny. We can try it. And then you
We
do it, and he's
can't
like, now say a joke about a vagina. It's like, who invited their like 10-year-old nephew to the set?
Hey, a 10-year-old nephew could write better than that.
But that is not cool. That was the whole, and there's no trivia because again, we talked more about the chair stuff than I thought we were going to, honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, man, you should have stopped me.
No, it was good that we did. I was worried we didn't have enough trivia, but you were just like, you were throwing out names. You were just fucking rearing to go with that. I was like, hell yeah. All right. Because you have to fill in the lore that I don't know when it comes to these public figures.
If you have any questions, I'm the person to ask.
Yeah, I did myself a favor as a teenager and was just like, all that shit, it's not there. I'm gonna watch movies from the 80s.
I think I bounced back pretty well.
Yeah, you came out like a semi-normal person. You survived the trauma. You're here.
I did. I'm looking at the trivia section on IMDb.
It's just about the producer.
Yeah,
right?
like everything. I put everything on here. Like,
and that they were like, Shane actually cut his hair, and I was like, who fucking cares?
No one cares. Nobody likes your hair. It's ugly.
I think a fun video would be if you and I try to rework Shane's script, but still have like Shane's character. She's like, pulls out the screenplay, slaps it down, and be like, oh, there it is.
No, like I literally like in my notes I have.
Well, like honestly, like you could make. I know this is just. I guess a better version of the script is this Holidaysburg, but you could take Shane's concept, like, and still make it Shane's idea, but take all of Shane's too muchness out of it and make a semi-compelling story. And I thought that, and I'm like, man, that really says something about screenwriting and storytelling, that even a Shane Dawson project can be good without the effect of Shane Dawson.
Yeah. No, he has a very parasitic way of doing
fucking
things.
Leeching off the masses.
Yeah, he does. Everything he touches just kind of is just ruined. It's like
turns into shit that gets eaten by a homeless man.
I don't know. We got it. Yeah, Holidaysburg, because there's not a scene on a football field. It's in a. I will say Shane tried really hard in this movie to make it look like it was not filmed in Pittsburgh.
Which wasn't that the point of the project, was to make it like a Pittsburgh project?
Yes.
And Pittsburgh is a city that has a lot of charm.
Yeah, well, that's what A.M. Lucas does for
because wouldn't you want to use, like, you're literally given these sets, wouldn't you want to use them to the best of their ability? Like, why would you want to like take away from a thing that like is only going to add to the charm of your project? Because it's like the first time you don't have to film in your fucking house, Shane. Use it.
Yeah. So yeah, they made it aesthetically pleasing in a way that worked around Pittsburgh. So there was like a lot of like just natural scenery, whereas like Shane didn't really do that.
A lot of sets for Shane's.
In their football scene, it's actually in like a big giant like abandoned warehouse. So like there's moments where you can see the parallels between Shane and the Holidaysburg script. Like you can see where they both got it all from. It's just that one does it
an actual movie
better.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for our discussion on Not Cool. Let us know in the comments if you want to see a Holidaysburg podcast. It'll probably happen anyway, but let us know if that's something you guys are interested in, and maybe we'll prioritize it over something else. Do all the things, do the likes, the subscribes, the good ratings, all the bell notifications, all the things, all the bells and whistles, literally and figuratively. Do those things. Until next time, stay safe, stay nerdy. We out.